But first, this evening, breaking news. Sailors on a Russian warship have reportedly fired warning shots at a yacht in the English Channel. The Ministry of Defence says it is investigating the incident, which happened in waters about 20 nautical miles south of the Isle of Wight. Moscow correspondent Ivor Bennett is here. Well, Ivor, what do we know?
Well, these are very serious reports, very worrying reports, clearly, that first surfaced around an hour ago, and we're still getting them in. But what we know, what we understand so far, is that this happened at 11:40 this morning, as you say, 20 nautical miles south of the Isle of Wight, so not inside UK territorial waters, closer to France than mainland UK. It's understood to have involved a Russian frigate called the Admiral Grigorovich, reportedly fired warning shots on this UK-registered yacht. No reports of any injuries, no reports of any damage, and it's understood these shots were at a distance of 500 yards and that the yacht is continuing with its journey. But clearly, these are very serious reports indeed, and I really think it speaks to the rising tensions between the UK and Russia right now. We haven't got any confirmation yet from the UK government, only a line from a spokesperson from the Ministry of Defence saying that it is investigating reports of an incident in the Channel, and the context here is very important, of course. It comes just 2 days after British commandos, we all saw those images of British commandos fast-roping down onto that sanctioned Russian Shadow Fleet tanker in the Channel, the first time that they've boarded and intercepted a Russian tanker in a bid to disrupt the Kremlin's oil revenues, put a dent in its war chest, ratchet up pressure on Vladimir Putin. We were expecting a response from Moscow, and this seems like it might be it.
Yeah, and Michael, I mean, unusual, to say the least, a Russian warship firing warning shots across the bow, in this case, a UK-registered yacht.
Yeah, we don't know anything about the yacht, whether it was just a pleasure yacht or a yacht that was doing sort of commercial trips backwards and forwards. It might have been a sailing yacht, it might have been a motor-powered yacht, don't know. 500 metres, 500 yards is pretty close for naval gunfire, but it would have been firing across the bows to try and make this yacht turn away. In that part of the Channel, I mean, yachts are going backwards and forwards all the time. I mean, people are on this yacht probably didn't think they were getting very close. So either the sailors on the Grigorovich might have decided, A, they need to make a demonstration, or B, that maybe they thought there were journalists on board, or it was some sort of secret service operation by the British trying to get close, or something like that. They might have thought there was something hostile about it, but they'd have to prove that. I mean, undoubtedly, the ambassador will be called into the Foreign Office to explain, and the Russians will have a story of whatever it is. But there's no way in which a yacht, whatever size it is, could be a danger to the Admiral Grigorovich, which is a very powerful frigate of the Black Sea Fleet. And it's been hanging around in the Channel off British coasts for months because it escorts Dark Fleet tankers up and down. Right. It usually sits off the coast of Suffolk,
right,
and the Dogger Banks. It's a bit further south now than it used to be, but I think it's gone round to Weymouth, where the Sutherland is, the Ledbury is, with the tanker that was seized on Sunday. Right. I think it's sitting off Weymouth looking at the Sutherland.
Right. I mean, the MOD is saying we're investigating reports of this incident. You are predicting that the ambassador will be called in, which might well happen. Yes. But militarily, I mean, as Ivor was just saying, these tensions are rising all the time. It's quite possible that the ocean, the sea, could be the scene of you know, this ongoing conflict with the cables underneath and so forth. So what do you think the military is likely to do?
I mean, militarily, it's neither here nor there. It's a little incident, presumably one burst of machine gun fire, I'm guessing, across the bows of the yacht. Unconventional and not acceptable. But, as I was saying, it plays to the fact that there is rising tension around British waters. And I've been saying for some time, I think we're heading for a militarised confrontation, not necessarily war, but a militarised confrontation with the Russians fairly soon, in the next couple of years. And the most obvious place for that confrontation to happen is at sea. may happen in the air, less likely to happen on the ground in the next couple of years. But we're certainly heading for something like this because the Russians keep pushing their attempt to see where our red lines are. And we keep saying that we have red lines, and then we don't back them up.
Yeah.
I mean, Britain has said since March that we will intercept dark fleet tankers, and Sunday was the first time we'd done it.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I mean, this was outside UK territorial waters and caused no injuries or damage, but an unusual incident, and we'll catch up with any more that we get from the MOD or from other sources. For now, thanks very much. And the UK's military budget definitely in the spotlight, with Defence Secretary John Healey resigning last week over spending plans. Well, he was speaking in the Commons today, and he said Britain risks falling behind its allies.
At this dangerous time, I see the current defence investment plans falling well short of what is required. A rise of 0.08% from next year to 2030, no date for reaching 3%, no path to 3.5%. By 2030, well over half of NATO members will be spending 3% or more. And when allies are looking for British leadership, we must not fall behind. When NATO needs European nations to step up, we must not fall short.
So he's talking about, went on to talk about the threat from Russia, of course, and it mentioned there the time span that NATO is talking about. On that subject, this kind of incident in the Channel, I mean, it just rises the tensions. I mean, doesn't it? Increases the tensions between Russia and the UK.
Yeah, and we're hearing this all the time from all of the defence and intelligence chiefs. They're coming out on a fairly weekly basis now. I mean, the chief of GCHQ and chief of MI6 have come out and have said, you know, the threat from Russia is ramping up. Literally every year, it's 30% greater than it was last year in terms of the number of incidents and the number of things we have to deal with it. So cyber attacks, incidents around our coast, threats of sabotage, the idea that they're now paying individuals just to commit acts of sabotage, and that's been in the news again this week. All of it suggests that the Russians are probing all the time to see where our vulnerabilities are. And we keep saying that we have red lines, but the Russians think, well, we don't enforce them. So, you know, we said we had red lines on the Shadow Fleet. We've only just started to enforce them, and maybe we'll carry on, maybe we won't. So there's this sense that, you know, we're not on a collision course with the Russians. They're on a collision course with us. And somehow we've got to, as it were, establish that we really mean our red lines and then get into a better relationship with the Russians. But as things stand, everything is deteriorating in our security environment.
Yeah. So Defence Security Editor Deborah Haynes has some information from a defence source on this idea that the MOD is investigating the Russian warship fired warning shots at the yacht in the Channel. And she is saying or reporting that from what is understood to be the case, the Admiral Grigorovich of this Russian frigate appeared to be having difficulty controlling its movements. It's not clear why, perhaps an engine problem. This is from a defence source. The warship is thought to have sounded an alert to the yacht to avoid a collision, but it didn't change course, so a couple of warning shots were fired, though the defence source says not directly at the yacht. The incident, as we know, took place about 20 nautical miles off the Isle of Wight. The shots, quotes, were certainly not fired at the yacht, the source said. The source said that such a course of action was perfectly reasonable. So that's a different take on this incident.
Well, if it sounded alarms and then thought that the next stage is to fire warning shots, what was wrong with Channel 16? That's the open channel. Yeah. Everybody knows about Channel 16.
Yeah.
If you've got a problem, if you've got a mayday, if you're looking for another channel to go to, you go on to Channel 16.
Yeah.
And if, even in Russian, if the Grigorovich had a steering problem, it should have got onto Channel 16 and said in whatever Russian or even broken English they had, we have a steering problem, keep out of the way.
Yeah.
But obviously they didn't. I mean, they seem to have gone from the argument that they had a steering issue, and it's the first time they have because they've been in British waters for months, but maybe they did, to firing warning shots. I mean, that's a pretty big escalation in terms of maritime protocol.
Yeah.
Well, quite. That's exactly what I was about to say. I mean, it just seems like they've gone from 0 to 60 and missed out the middle. But I guess we will find out when more information comes, and it's coming in now, isn't it?
OK, yeah. Ivor and Michael, thank you very much. Thank you. In fact, let's talk to James Gator, who is a former Royal Navy officer. And James, just bear with me a second, because the Russian Defence Ministry is saying that the Russian frigate Admiral Grigorovich in the Channel spotted a yacht under a British flag which was following a dangerous course to approach the ship. The Russian Defence Ministry says the frigate fired preemptive shots at the yacht that had not responded to any signals. After the preemptive shooting, say the Russians, the yacht immediately changed course and continued to move away from the Russian warship. And the Russian warship acted, say the ministry, in Moscow in accordance with international navigation rules and took all measures to prevent the incident. So that is what we have from the Russian Defence Ministry on that. So let's just go back to James Gator, former Royal Navy officer. Thanks for bearing with us on that. I just wonder, first of all, what you make of it all.
Well, Mark, good afternoon. In 20 years as a naval officer, and many of those at sea, I don't recall reading in the rules of the road, as they're colloquially known, the use of warning shots when vessels approach you in international waters. So with regard to that particular explanation, I don't think it holds, if you'll forgive the pun, much water.
Right. And Deborah Haynes is reporting a defence source here saying that it appeared that the Russian ship was in some way out of control and that they were having problems and that they didn't fire at the yacht, they fired, near the yacht. But nevertheless, it's a highly unusual incident, and I guess it's just a sign of the rising tensions.
Well, you're right. Details are, as ever with these things, limited. What we know is that a report was made in the mid-morning to HM Coast Guard that these alleged warning shots were fired, and this is still being investigated. So let's start from the position that we don't know exactly what has happened. But secondly, I think if we look at the facts that we are aware of, that it took place 20 nautical miles south of the Isle of Wight, well, the channel is only 75 nautical miles wide at that point. So it's probably about as far east as you can proceed up the channel while still remaining in international waters. So neither in British territorial waters nor in French territorial waters. So were I to be conducting an information operation to make a point, then I might choose to do something like this.
Yes. And I mean, how likely is it that something like this could lead to something more serious?
Well, that depends about misunderstandings. I mean, this is obviously, if true, a dangerous escalation, the engagement of a clearly civilian vessel in international waters in between two NATO allies is the sort of incident that starts, Deborah's war game. So the fact is that I would consider this to be a dangerous and unfortunate escalation, if true. But of course, we have also seen on Sunday the boarding of the Smirtos, the very first Shadow Fleet vessel boarded in the English Channel after the announcement that was, I believe, on the 25th of March. So it took a little while for the ducks to find themselves in a row, and a moment was found on Sunday for Royal Marine Commandos from 4-2 Commando to effect a very successful operation. And the Grigorovich has been operating in the Channel, has been resupplied, in fact, for some time, escorting Shadow Fleet vessels, notwithstanding the fact that after Sunday's operation, a number of these vessels are now tracking north around the British Isles on their journey from St. Petersburg down to clients in the south.
I mean, how worried are you about a more serious confrontation between the two navies?
Not immediately worried. My greatest worry is the fact that the Royal Navy is in a parlous state at present, through years of a lack of investment, a lack of capital expenditure. The vessel HMS Sutherland, that the Type 23 frigate that was involved in Sunday's operation, is 20 years old, and many of her sister ships are very much at the end of their working lives, and yet we are only just building their replacements. So my greatest worry is, as an island nation, the state of our navy, and I would very much like your viewers to consider their position at the ballot box next time they have a chance to, because clearly the Treasury's priority is not defence at this time.
OK, James Gator, thank you very much indeed for being with us. Thank you.